All right, on to example 5. So it says angle LMN and angle PQR are complementary angles. Once again, here's our vocab word. Ask yourself, what does complementary mean? All right, complementary means they add to 90 degrees. There's your vocab. There's our key to success in this word problem. So it says find the measures of the angles when angle LMN is 4x minus 2 and angle PQR is 9x plus 1. So these two have to add to 90 degrees. Okay? So if you want to put parentheses around them, do. They don't do much, but if that helps you see it, then do that. So 4x plus 9x is 13x minus 1. So add 1. 13x equals 91. Divide by 13. 91 divided by 13. I get x equals 7. Okay, now you're not done. Why aren't you done? You're not done because you have to find the measures of the angles. Guys, the measure of the angles is not x equals 7. Okay, we're not in algebra. We need to turn our brains into geometry mode. So all that means is I have to plug x equals 7 into this. So 4x minus 2, we know x equals 7. So 28, 26 degrees. So this is 26 degrees. And then I also have to plug our x into over here, so 9x plus 1. And I know x is 7. So 63 plus 1 is 64 degrees. And then if you do check them, 64 plus 26 does equal 90. So yes, they are complementary. All right, let's look at example 6. It says, identify all linear pairs and all vertical angles. Okay, so in order to do this, you need to figure out what's a linear pair and what's a vertical angle. All right, so linear pairs, keyword here, well, I guess both are keywords. Pairs means two, linear means line. So what two angles, when put together, forms a line? Okay, well, if we look at this line here, isn't angle 1 and 4? If you put these angle 1 and 4 together, you get this line. So linear pairs, angle 1 and angle 4, remember they come in pairs. Now, are there any other ones? Well, let's look at this. That's a line, this is a line here. Okay, well, 4 and 5, that would be another pair that would make a line. Now I'm asking you, what about angles 1, 2, and 3? Would that be a linear pair? Angles 1, 2, and 3 would not be a linear pair, remember, because pair implies two. Okay? And then this line here, let me go ahead and grab this. This line here doesn't go all the way through, so this is it for linear pairs. There's just two sets of linear pairs. All right, now let's look at vertical angles. Let me free that up some. All right, vertical angles. Okay, vertical angles are two angles opposite of each other when lines are crossed. So if two lines are crossed, this and this would be vertical angles. And then here and here would be vertical angles. Okay, so if these, ooh, that's a bad one. Let me try this again. If this line here and this line here are crossed. All right, guys, let me try this one last time. this line and this line across. There we go. So this is what I would have. This is angle 1, this is angle 4, this is angle 5, and this is angle 2 and 3. Okay? Well, we want it directly across from each other. So 1 and 5 are directly across from each other. Okay? 1 and 5 are directly across from each other. Now, some of you are going to want to say, well, yeah, well, so is 4 and then 2 and 3. That's not a pair, okay? 2 and 3 are across from 4, but you have to put these together to be exactly across from 4. So I know this can be kind of confusing, and as you do more homework, it'll make it a little easier to understand. This is the only vertical angle pair we have is just 1 and 5. That's it. All right, let's look at example number 7 together. So it says 2 angles form a linear pair. Now when you're reading these, it's a good idea to underline, highlight, bring it to your attention, the vocab words, and ask yourself, what does it mean? So linear pair is a vocabulary word, and linear pair means 2 angles that form a line. Okay, so together they form a line. So 2 angles form a linear pair. The measure of one angle is 5 times the measure of the other. Okay, so it's 5 times the measure of the other. So if I let this angle here be x, and this other angle is 5 times the measure of this, how would we write that in algebra? Okay, well, would measure 5 times the measure of x would just be 5x. Okay, find the measure of each angle now. All right, well, what else do I know about linear pairs? Look back at your vocab. I know I had it written back. If we add linear pairs up, what do they equal? If I add linear pairs up, remember I said linear pairs are always supplementary. I'm just going to put sup, period. Supplementary. And what does supplementary mean? Well, supplementary means they add to 180 degrees. Okay, so find the measure of each angle. So if I add these up, they're going to equal 180 degrees. So 5x plus x equals 180. If I divide both sides by 6, I get x equals 30. Now, we are not done. Why are we not done? We're not done because the question didn't ask us to solve for x. The question wanted us to find the measure of each angle. Okay? So we have to go and plug this 30 back in. So x is 30, so this is just 30. And this other angle is 5 times x. X is 30. So 5 times 30 is 150 degrees. So the two angles are 150 and 30 degrees. All right, so example 8, we're going to use this diagram to the right. And if we look on the first question, it says, do any of the numbered angles in the figure form a linear pair? Now, here's our vocabulary word, linear pair. Okay, so pair implies 2, linear, base word of that is line, so you want two angles that make up a line. So a linear pair, remember, looks something like this, where you have one angle here and one angle here, and you put them together and they make a line. So if we look at this diagram, do we have any linear pairs? No, we do not. And the reason we do not is if we look at any of these lines, let's take this line. 1, 2, and 3 would make a line, or 4, 5, and 6 would make a line, but 3 is not a pair. So I'm going to put no because it takes 3 angles to form a line. Okay, let me erase this real quick. All right, now, which angles are vertical angles? All right, well, these are opposite of each other and all lines go through, so we have a lot of pairs of vertical angles. So I could say angle 1 and, so angle 1 and 4. I could say 6 and 3. And then last but not least, 2 and 5. Don't forget to put your angle marks, and these are each separate. So there's our 3 pairs of vertical angles. All right, guys, one more problem and we'll call it a wrap. Example 9 says the measure of an angle is twice the measure of its complement. Okay. Here's your vocab word. Well, actually, complementary is your vocab word, but complement is its base. So, what does complement mean? Complementary means it's 2 angles that add to 90 degrees. Okay? 2 angles that add to 90 degrees. So the measure of one angle is twice the measure of its complement. All right, so let's just, here's one angle, and then here's another angle. Okay, together these add to 90 degrees. They don't have to be drawn to scale, guys. This is just a visual of us to make us see it a little bit better, visualize it. All right, so the measure of an angle is twice the measure of its complement. So let's let this angle be x. And if this one is twice the measure of its complement, this has to be 2x. Okay, so if I set up an equation, I know these 2 angles have to add to 90 degrees. So 2x plus x equals 90 degrees. 3x equals 90. Divide by 3. That means x equals 60. You are not done. And the reason you're not done is because here is what we're supposed to answer. Find the measure of each angle. Guys, I screwed up. 90 divided by 3 is 30, not 60. Okay, so x is 30. So x equals 30. 2x equals 2 times 30, which is 60. Here's your 2 angles. That's it, guys. Start studying for your test.